Right, welcome back to the program. We did hint when we started the program that we'll be in conversation with Mihla Khumalo on the backdrop of the Eswatini Higher Education Council, which has released an updated list of credible institutions. And of course, some of those have been listed and people have been furnished with the names of those institutions. But he's in studio right now and we want him to help us really understand what these updates mean. So, Mihla, welcome to the program. A very good afternoon to you. We hope you're having a good day. Take us through this new list and what the key updates are that people should be aware of.
Okay, thanks, Eswatini, and thanks to the viewer at home. Actually, we usually release the list on a quarterly basis, but you find that as we are progressing with our work, we may even update it earlier. So the one we've just released has some notable changes. You know, some of these changes include programs which have been added in some institutions, and some of the institutions have been registered fully.
Yeah.
Meaning that these institutions were operating previously, but they were operating provisionally. So how we usually work is that there are standards which are supposed to be followed when you are establishing an institution, and the programs which are being offered by that particular institution are also supposed to be vetted by the regulator, which is Eswatini Higher Education Council.
Yeah.
Yes, but in some instances you find that there are institutions out there which are not registered, which then poses a threat to the public because, you know, the pitfalls of registering in institutions which are not legally registered is that you end up having a qualification which is totally useless to say the least.
Yeah.
So we usually carry out our work, and the aim of having registered programs is that these programs are supposed to inform the needs of the country, you know. These programs are supposed to be responsive, you know. These days we're talking about unemployment.
Yeah.
We're talking about saturation, where you find that a particular program maybe has overproduced a number of graduates. And Eswatini Higher Education Council, during the progress of checking these programs, we make sure that we have needs assessment which are informed by industry, by businesses, by the public, to ensure that these programs which are to be offered are programs which are really needed by the country.
Yeah. Is it just three of them? Because I believe there's soft tech,
Yes.
there's UTech,
Yes.
and there is Eswatini College of Theology. And if it's just the three of them, if you will, just submit to the viewer at home how they can access the list.
Okay, the fully registered institutions are some of those we have mentioned, but maybe I might want to single out UTech. UTech had previously been suspended for a year because the programs they're offering were no longer credible. So we had to suspend them for a year. Then we worked together in ensuring that they introduce localized diploma programs.
Okay.
So another thing, when an institution is suspended, it doesn't entirely mean that we've thrown that institution into the bin. We work together to ensure that the programs which are going to be offered are going to be those which are reputable. Then after we've done our processes, the institution can come back.
Yeah.
So another way of accessing our list is to go to our website, which is www.eshec.org.sz. You can also visit our social media pages. We are on X, we are on Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. That's where the list is accessible.
Yeah.
And another piece of advice we usually have is that because the list is updated now and again, it's advisable that before you make a decision, you upload the latest list just to make sure that the changes which are there are still relevant.
Yeah, so it is very imperative for anyone that is looking to register with any of the institutions to go through the website first.
Yes.
And the website always has the updated list of the ones that are credible, the ones that have been brought back from suspension, because as you mentioned, UTech had been previously suspended, but they've just been brought back. And the issue of non-compliance, I believe you are emphasizing, when an institution is suspended, it is because they were non-compliant to certain standards. I think that's very important. Now let's talk to parents and prospective students. How can they verify credibility of an institution now before enrolling? Just besides going into the website? Is there any possible other way they can verify credibility of an institution before applying?
I think a full proof of verifying that an institution is credible is to touch base with the Eswatini Higher Education Council. Remember that you are the regulator, so the only place you can get the latest information is through our office.
Sure.
As I have said before, that even you cannot go and retrieve a list which was published last year because the changes happen in a frequent manner. So it's advisable that you get guidance from the office so that you can be sure that the list you have is the list which has the latest changes.
Yeah. Let's speak to the parent and the student who is in a conundrum of they've applied to the credible institutions and unfortunately they were not accepted. Now they have this temptation of enrolling into an institution that is not registered with you guys, which in essence is not credible. And you said when you began speaking that essentially, and you were being respectful, you said that certificate that you get there is useless, to say the least. And you mean that respectfully. You know, speak to those people, because there is that temptation when you are not accepted in the credible ones to then go into these ones, and yet they just want your money, if we're being honest.
Okay, so as we're interacting with our stakeholders, some of them have given us the information that the temptation is there.
Yeah.
But we've tried to explain that, you know, this being a formal sector, it's guided by standards and regulations and frameworks. You know, with the issue of admissions, the admissions in higher education institutions are guided by the Eswatini qualifications framework. So, for example, if you want to apply for a diploma or a degree, let me use a degree usually requires 6 credits. So once someone tells you that they can take you in that particular program with 3 credits, automatically you know that something is wrong. Another thing is that even if that particular institution can take you on and you study and complete your degree, you won't be able to evaluate that particular certificate. Remember, the frameworks we have are tied to regional frameworks, continental ones, and international ones. Reason being is that if you have a particular qualification from a local institution, once you want to migrate and further your studies or even find employment outside of the country, they have to be able to evaluate it and pair it with the particular framework in that country. So, for instance, someone who wants to further maybe his studies, you have a degree from Eswatini, you move on to the UK, you are able to get there and register for a master's degree because of those particular standards and framework which we aim to uphold. Yes.
So essentially, what Mihla is submitting, viewers at home, is that a credible institution, and that is one that is under their list, will give you a credible certificate or a degree or a qualification that can be evaluated and be found credible. But if the institution that you are tempted to enroll in is not credible, which means it's not a part of their list, it is also going to equal your qualification or your certificate to be not credible. So, Mihla, as we end our conversation, just a parting message that you want to relay to the viewer at home as well as the parent.
Okay, I'd like to maybe urge parents and learners as well, or prospective students, to make sure that they do enroll in credible institutions. And another thing maybe I might have left it out earlier is that the list is also now being used by employers.
Okay.
So even HR personnel in different industries, they touch base with the list because they want to make sure that if they employ someone, that particular person has a qualification from a credible institution. So the safest thing to do now is to make sure that if you enroll to an institution which is local, make sure that that particular institution is credible.
Mihla, thank you for your time. He is the Communications and Advocacy Officer from Eshec. The message is simple, but the indirect message, which he also inferred when he made that example of 3 credits, getting you into an institution where you're looking for a degree, do not do that. If you have 3 credits, you may want to look at, fixing your other credits or looking for a different kind of certification, but not a degree. But he's essentially saying everything has to be by merit and not by favor or by illegal means. Let's go for a quick ad break. The show continues when we return.